Let's take a look at this video. It should be the. They showed him in that video. I'm just curious if anybody knows who he is or has any schema for him. He was known as the king of rock and roll in his time. But he's a source of controversy because actually most of his songs, he didn't write them. Most of his songs were written by other people, specifically Black people. So one of the controversies about Elvis is that he got popular singing music that was written and performed by Black people, and that he copied the way they performed. So he's very, very famous, very well-known musician. When I was growing up, he was super popular still. All right. According to the video, though, how did rock music change race relations? Anybody catch that piece? Yep, exactly. It made it so finally, music was shared across race lines. Before, and it was really because it was recorded music. So, in the early days when they didn't have recorded music and they didn't have music played on the radios, it was harder for everybody to listen to the same music. So as that technology grew, the music changed. Rock and roll developed in the time period when, recordings were much easier to find. It was much easier. Everybody had a record player and everybody shared records. And so it was shared across racial lines, and people listened to, for the first time ever, people listen to the same music. And so then, this is your opinion. I can't answer this for you. Has popular music lost its political influence? Do you think that it no longer changes people's minds the way that they're saying it did? Or do you think that it still does change people's minds? Do you think that it is a good form of protesting injustice? And then we're just going to take a really quick brain break where I want you to think about how well you're using Google Classroom and how well you get it, and just kind of in your own mind, you mentally check this off. If there's anything that's not true, you could write a comment here about it, or write directly in the document if there's anything that's like, I'm not able to do this, and let me know. I'm going to give a pause, check on you guys, and then I'll come back for the second part. We're going to watch a video next. That in the 1980s, they had MTV, right? So it finally, music wasn't just the sound of it, it was also the visuals and this medium where we would watch videos for the first time ever. We got MTV, and then VH1 came in the 80s. So protest music took a new turn, right? We can look at back even further in history and see a whole lineage of protest music, but we're going to start with this song from 1989. All right, so now we're going to look a little closer at some of the lyrics, and we're going to start with the 2 layers. We're going to add on 2 more layers, but we're going to start with the reading about who is the speaker. And when we're analyzing for this, we're going to read these lyrics and we're going to think, who is the speaker who wrote this? And what do we know about them? And what don't we know about them? Right?
Didn't they diss Elvis, I think?
Yeah, they dissed Elvis for sure.
Yeah, I noticed that one.
Yeah. And, if you don't know who Elvis is, this line doesn't mean as much, right? Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. Straight up racist, the sucker was simple and plain motherfucking man John Wayne. So if you know that Elvis was notorious for stealing Black people's music, this line means more than if you didn't know that. And do you guys know who John Wayne is? Any idea? Because I put a link here because I figured you might not. John Wayne was this guy. He's an American actor, known as the Duke, and he was really famous and really popular, and he was always in a Western movie, and he always played the good guy who was a white guy who was dominating the Native Americans, right? And he made hundreds of movies with that same kind of theme, all these movies where he was He was the guy. So this line means more, right? When we know who John Wayne is. Even this line is a reference to something. Do you know this line? I'm black and I'm proud. Hey, Naomi. Who are you looking for?
Actually, a new student, Mia. She's in your house as well. Is about
Oh,
to start her program. So I wanted to make sure she gets in good.
oh, good. Okay. Here she's coming. Awesome. I'll send her the link. I'll send the link through the assignment again. We're working on this Fight the Power lyrics. Do you know that song, Naomi?
I do not.
Fight the Power by Public Enemy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's an old one. It's an old and good one.
Once you said Public Enemy, I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So we're working on these lyrics. Welcome, Mia. You can click that link there if you want and sign into our Google Classroom.
Okay, so Mia, I'm gonna leave you in great hands. If you need me, please text me. I would say stay after and talk to Sydney a little bit so you guys can get to know each other.
Please do.
I will.
I don't have another class after this, so I'll
You guys in a bit.
I'll chat with you after too. Make sure you're caught up. Okay, so for now, just bear with us. See if you can get in the Google Classroom, and then I'm going to keep talking about these song lyrics. So we've done all this stuff, and we're down here. We're going to analyze just this last verse. And we're looking right now for the first time at just stuff about the speaker, right? What can we tell about who wrote it? What do we know about them? What don't we know about them? And does this text have a particular meaning because of who wrote it or said it, right? Is it different if somebody else says it? I'd stopped here at this allusion. I'm making sure you guys know the allusions. So an allusion, this word up here, is any reference to another text. And people do it all the time when they expect you to know something. Like if I say SpongeBob, I think you guys understand that reference, right? And I don't need to say anything else. You have a whole picture in your head, don't you? If I say he was acting like SpongeBob, does that mean something to you all? My guess is yes. But if you don't know that character, it doesn't mean anything to you, right? So an allusion is just a reference to something that you might know. I'm Black and I'm Proud is an allusion to a famous song by James Brown that was popular in the 70s, right before this song was produced, or maybe the late 60s even. And it was popular and created the kind of Black pride that we saw in the visuals of that video, where we saw people wearing lots of African medallions and things that were signifying Black pride. That was very popular in the 80s. So keep going. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. You see straight up racist. That sucker was simple and plain. Motherfuck him and John Wayne. Because I'm Black and I'm proud. Already I'm hyped, plus I'm amped. Most of my heroes don't appear on no stamps. Sample a look back, you look and find nothing but rednecks for 400 years if you check. Again, if you don't know what a redneck is, that might stop you. Rednecks refer to my people. We are white. I'm actually getting the redneck right here. But really, it refers to the fact that they were the poor whites that would have been outside working and their necks would get sunburned. Men. So that's where that term comes from, and it refers to poor white men. It's kind of a derogatory term. Don't worry, be happy. That is a reference to this song by Bobby McFerrin that was super popular back in the 80s. And it really was just repeating that idea of don't worry, be happy. Don't worry, be happy was a #1 jam. Damn if I say it, you can slap me right here. Let's get this party started right. Come on, what we got to say. Power to the people, no delay. Make everybody see in order to fight the powers that be. All right, so what do we know about this speaker? Who wrote this? What can we say? There are no real wrong answers there. If you look it up, you'll find out it's Chuck D. But if you don't look it up, you already know that it's not a white man, right? Because he says it right here, I'm Black and I'm proud. So it's a Black man. What do we know about him? He's a rapper. If we watch that video, we know it was set in New York. We can guess he's a New Yorker. And then what don't we know about them, right? What don't we know? What's significant? So what I'm noticing is I don't know anything about his education or his background from this. I would have to look that up and do more study. I can make some inferences that he's well versed in the popular culture that came before him and that he's knows some stuff, right? Most of my heroes don't appear on no stamps. Well, he has heroes, but they're not the kind of people that get put on stamps. But we don't know who his heroes are, so we know they're not on stamps, but we can't tell for sure. And then does this text have a particular meaning because of who wrote it or said it? Well, I would think yes, because the Black experience is such that there is a lot injustice. And therefore, the need to protest, right? I mean, if you've got injustice, you're going to need to protest. So in our first time, we're going to analyze these lyrics, first thinking about who the speaker is, and now we're going to read them again, thinking about the purpose. Why did they write this? What was this song trying to do? What was the speaker hoping to accomplish by putting this out into the world? Remember that the purpose itself is, the message itself is not the purpose. So the purpose is not to fight the power, right? If we're going to really find a purpose, it's going to be something like this: to inform, to persuade, to inspire, to convince. It's going to have a word "to" in front of it. So I'm going to read it again, and I'm going to look for that, what I think the purpose is of this. Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. You see, straight up racist, that sucker was simple and plain, motherfuck him and John Wayne. Because I'm Black and I'm proud, already I'm hyped because I'm amped. Most of my heroes don't appear on no stamps. Sample a look back and you find nothing but rednecks for 400 years if you check. Don't worry, be happy was a #1 jam. Damn if I say you can slap me right here. Let's get this party started. Right, now I'm noticing that. And I'm noticing that he said, already I'm hyped because I'm amped. And those two ideas sort of come together for me. That there is, and the music was really upbeat, you know, like you could dance to it, even though it's this jam. So even though it's this deep political message, what we got to say, power to the people, no delay, make everybody see in order to fight the powers that be. Okay, this feels like it might be the conclusion. This might be where I'm getting my purpose. Make everybody see in order to fight the powers that be. So maybe this is a lesson on political and wants to inspire All right, so maybe he wants to inspire people to get more aware of these injustices in order to be able to fight the powers that be. The powers that be are just all of the things that have power over us, right? So that's an interesting idea. And the last thing is just a box for you to write your opinion of the song. Why do you think as you do? This is absolutely you, and I want to find out what you think and your opinion. We're going to look a little deeper at this same song tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to stop my share and